called Conservation Ambassador. And what it is we do at our center is we give a hope to rescue wildlife. Either animals that have been injured somehow and can't be sent free back out to the wild. Those animals are sent to us at our center. Or other times we have a big problem, especially here in the United States. We have a problem with people trying to make pets of wild animals. That never has worked. It's also against the law. Those animals are taken away and sent to our center as well. Now what we do is give these animals lots of attention and lots of food. And the animals that we can, we train to travel. Going mostly to school groups, giving us a chance to share some amazing rescue wildlife up close and personal. Now we've been partnering with SeaWorld for the last 25 years, and we've gotten to witness some of the amazing rescue work that SeaWorld's done. And since SeaWorld first opened their gates, they have rescued and released over 40,000 animals. That definitely deserves a round of applause. Yeah, that's incredible. They're some of the best at what they do. When SeaWorld asked us to come share some of our wildlife with you, we were super excited to do so. And we came all the way out from California to share some of our furry friends. And we're actually going to start with one of our local ones.
Hello everybody, this is Poppy, a Virginia opossum. Now, these were Richard's East Coast animal, but they were spread across the United States while the railroad tracks were being built. And they actually brought him here from state to state as a food source. But we got Poppy because one day a lady was driving home at night and she saw a cute little fur ball run across the road. She tried her best to stop, but she accidentally hit that fur ball. However, so she pulls over, but how she was smart, she saw the kid in an opossum. And she remembered reading somewhere that opossums were marsupials. And marsupials an animal with a pouch. What do they keep in that pouch? Their babies, right on his money. They keep their babies. So she opened up that pouch bravely and she saw there were 5 baby opossums sitting in that pouch. So she went down low, she swooped them on up, and she sent them to the nearest rehab center, where they had the best chance of surviving and making it back out into the wild. Now, all of them are doing great. They're all thriving, eating, foraging for food, getting stronger, climbing, even staying away from people, except for our little dude here, Poppy, who they found out was almost completely blind. I know. So unfortunately, he was unable to be released back in the wild with his siblings. But, however, he found a home here with us, so we can do these wonderful shows with you guys, our little movie star. Now, Poppy here is only 2 years old. And this might seem a little crazy, but in the wild, opossums only live 3 to 4 years. But here's the crazy thing. In those 3 to 4 years, mama opossums will have up to 50 children. Yeah, I don't think I want to make it much past 3 years myself. Now, one of the things you don't know about little Poppy here, or maybe you do, is at nighttime you might see him in your backyard. He's actually helping you and your family out. What he's doing is he eats a very crazy cool diet, and that diet is very beneficial. What he does is he eats carrion. So he eats all types of mice, that may be rotting, things like that that cause bacteria, diseases, and he'll come and pull them out of your yard for you so your pets don't get it. The big thing he does is his favorite thing are ticks. And he'll eat up to 5,000 ticks in one season. Yeah, he eats 5,000 ticks in one season, and ticks are the biggest carrier for Lyme disease. So he's keeping you, yourself, your kids, maybe your dogs, your animals, all safe from getting that Lyme disease. Now, this is Poppy here, North America's only marsupial.
Speaking of marsupials, this guest here is from the land of marsupials, Australia. Now, I have to wear this big glove with him because right now it is the laughing kookaburra's mating season. So, if I was a girl, he would try to fly mice right into my mouth and try and feed me, but since I'm a boy, we're not too good friends right now. I know. That was pretty cool. Now, he is truly famous for that voice of his. See, they use that call in the background of every single movie that's ever had a jungle scene ever. It doesn't matter if they're showing an African, a South American, or an Asian jungle. They use this little bird's voice, even though he's from the exact opposite climate. He's from the grasslands of Australia, but they use his call because it does sound like it comes from the jungle. You guys want to hear it again? Are you ready, buddy? I love it. he should be famous for something else as well, because he's actually the largest member of the kingfisher family, but he doesn't hunt fish. Instead, he hunts mice, lizards, and snakes in the grasslands of Australia. I've even seen videos of these birds hunting snakes as long as 6 feet. They'll dive down with that specialized bill of theirs. They grab onto the snakes right behind the back of the head, then they'll whip them back and forth, until it's like a limp noodle, and then they'll start to swallow. Slowly swallowing and digesting that snake over 3 days, while the rest of it hangs out the corner of his mouth. Sounds weird, works very well for the kookaburra though. Now, somebody here in the US fell in love with these birds, and they found a way to purchase one online and brought it into their home. Only this person lived in an apartment complex. And see, kookaburra. Did everyone guys have one of those friends that never stops talking? If you don't, you're probably that friend. Now, the kookaburra is actually known as the outback alarm clock because every single morning they let out that call of theirs. The neighbors were not such a big fan, which is why he's with us at our center. Anyways, that's little Giggles, our laughing kookaburra.
Here, I have Wizard, our turkey vulture. Now, I love his little bald head, but I'm really hoping I don't look like that in 10 years. What he does every morning is a little different than Mr. Giggles, is he will spread those wings nice and wide, and he will take up that sun, and he will soak it up until he gets nice and warm. Once he gets nice and warm, he takes a flight up in the sky, he locks those wings on out, and he starts getting to work. What we mean by that is he starts smelling. He starts sniffing to find the dirtiest, most rotten thing he can find. And once he finds something so rotten that's been sitting there for a couple days, he dives on down and makes a meal out of it. Now, our little turkey vulture here, that great little bald head that we're talking about, is perfect for diving on rotten meat because it keeps him from getting his feathers pulled out of his head. The other really cool thing he has to keep him clean while he's doing his job, taking care of nature, is he has those amazing feet. And guess how he cleans those feet? It's a little weird. Do you guys want to hear it? He pees on them. That's how we named him Wizard. Now, Wizard came to us 17 years ago because somebody had the right idea to shoot this beautiful bird right in his left wing. Birds' wings are hollow, so when they do get broken or hurt, they don't always fill back right, and that's what happened to Wizard here. So he can fly a little bit, but not enough to survive in the wild. All right, guys, that was Wizard, our beautiful turkey vulture.
We're going to go from beautiful to cute. This is Maya, and she's about a 40-year-old spider monkey. She's been at her center almost 30 years now. And in 1994, she got a call from LA County Sheriff saying they found a monkey in a dumpster. Apparently somebody threw her away. And this kind of thing actually happens a lot. So people get monkeys, they try and make them into pets, and they quickly learn why that's not such a good idea. See, monkeys are set up by nature to be the farmers in the rainforest. They are set up to eat fruits, they swallow the seeds, they squeeze the seeds out the other end in a nice little pile of fertilizer, and they do this about every 15 minutes. So, as they're planting fruit trees and people's couch cushions around the rest of their house, people get very tired of them. Not to mention the fact that as monkeys get older, they tend to get an attitude, people get bit, they get sent to the hospital, and if that's not enough, they find out that these monkeys can live 40 to 50 years. So they get rid of them in all sorts of ways. Whether they get caught by U.S. Fish and Wildlife, or they set them in centers like ours, or other times they just release them into the world, kind of like what happened to Maya here. What are you doing? Apparently she's got something tasty on her hands. Now Maya, her hands are not set up like a lot of other monkey species. She doesn't have that opposable thumb on her hand. Instead, can I see your hand here, girl? Instead, she has 4 alien-like fingers. Allow her to hook onto the branches, and she can swing through the trees as fast as a horse can run on land. She also has the coolest tail in the jungle. Her tail is so dexterous that she can pick up something as small as a grain of rice with the tip of that tail. And actually use it for all sorts of stuff. She hangs by that tail, she carries food around with it, she scratches her head with it, every once in a while touch her picking her nose with it. I mean, it's the most amazingly useful tail I have ever seen. Now, when Maya first came to our center, she wasn't doing very good. Because she was getting so much of the wrong foods when she was young, She actually had metabolic bone disease and now has major structural issues. She can't even extend her legs as fully as she should, which is a big part of why she put us at our center, not able to live with other spider monkeys. Now, I love her a lot, and spider monkeys are a top-tier climber. Our next guest has some surprising climbing abilities as well, but that's little Maya. Let's say goodbye to the little spider monkey here.
Aw, that's what everyone says when they see me. I'm just kidding. This is Disco here, and he is our gray fox. Now, gray foxes are incredibly amazing. Disco here, we got from a local rehabber that actually found him and took him in when he was abandoned as a very young baby. Now, they had intended to raise him for re-release, but the rehabber that got assigned to him did all the wrong things. She loved him, she cuddled him, she even let him play with her dogs and her kids. So when she took him back to the rehab center for release, they instantly realized that she had ruined him. He had lost his natural healthy fear of people and would not be able to survive in the wild. So instead, 12 years ago, they called us and we took him in. He's been helping us do educational programs ever since. Now, little Disco here is about 13 years old. And in the wild, gray foxes live to about 8 or 9. So this little guy is actually a senior citizen. That's why we brought him to Florida. Now, gray foxes are incredible creatures. They can climb up trees with ease using their cat-like movements, and they are excellent hunters and foragers and scavengers, eating anything from mice, carrion, berries, and grasses. But for a while, their numbers were declining due to overhunting for their beautiful fur. Plus, they face another problem as well, an invasive species. You know, Florida knows all about invasive species. This one was a red fox. Red foxes have taken over the gray fox's habitat. They've been overusing their food sources. But luckily, in recent years, gray foxes have steadily been making a comeback, which I think is great to see. Now, little Disco here may look pretty cute, but he's actually very stinky. Gray foxes have a very strong musky odor. Some lucky people in the front row could probably even smell it. It's not me, and my co-hosts swear it isn't him, so it's probably Disco here. But even though he's stinky, we still love him. Now, our next animal used to be a challenge animal. We would bring her out for audiences to try and guess and see what she was. But in recent years, we've been losing this challenge. She's about to come on out, but let's give it up for little Disco here, the gray fox.
This is Samantha, and what is she? A lemur. You guys are exactly right, but she's not just any lemur. She's what's known as a brown lemur. You guys know what she's called, a brown lemur? Yeah, because she's brown. No, if you look at the lemur's eyes, do you think she's awake during the day, or do you think she's awake at night? That's what I think too. With those big, yellow, owl-like eyes, she looks like a nocturnal or a nighttime animal, but she's not. She's actually dying. She gets up in the mornings, and the first thing that she does is she greets every member of her lemur family. And how one lemur says hello to another lemur. Well, would you guys like to see? Yeah. Or you want to see? It's kind of weird. All right, I'm going to make it sound like a pin. She's going to answer me back. Then she's going to do something rather strange. Yes, sure, you want to see this? Yeah. All right, the things I do for an audience. Ready, Samantha? I'm sorry, that was a completely inappropriate response. I had a lemur tongue shooting up my nose, and half you guys were going, aww. I'll tell you what, if you think it's so cute, how about you turn to the person next to you and say hello like a, don't do this. I got in big trouble with a preschool group because I couldn't get them to stop. Now the lemurs, they get up, they greet their whole family unit, then they go off looking for food. Now for her, she doesn't want to use the ground. Where she lives, there are fossa, a jungle cat-like creature that loves sea lemurs. There's also crocodiles by the water's edge. So when she gets around, she uses the trees. And how she gets from one tree to the next, guess what she does? She jumps. They're even called leaping lemurs. Amazing, amazing jumping ability. Ready, Samantha? How's that? Let's do a real jump. Come here, girl. Oh, she's peeing. We're going to take a brief intermission. Are we done? audience. All right, let's show them a big jump curve. Oh, she's cheating. No cheating, big jump. Yeah, big jump. I'm close enough, big jump. No, I'm close enough, big jump. Whoa. No, do not clap for that. That for her was barely a hop. But Samantha here is over 30 years old. She's a very, very old lemur. So I don't ask her to do super far jumps anymore. But when she was younger, she could jump from my shoulder, and she could lay on the table all the way over there. And as she jumps through the air, she uses this big, beautiful, long tail of hers to keep her balance as she would be bounding through the canopies of Madagascar. Now, Samantha, though, her story is she was found in a man's home in Palmdale, California. Somebody had decided it would be okay to take a lemur, an endangered species, and keep her in a cage in their home. Now, does that sound fair to her? I love this girl a lot, but I'm just roaming the canopies of Madagascar. Looking on the lemur's noses, that is where she truly belongs. Now, there are over 105 different species of lemurs. All of them have two things in common. They are only found in Madagascar, nowhere else on our planet, and every single species of lemur is endangered in the wild. If we don't do something fairly quickly, we could actually lose these beautiful creatures during our lifetime. Now, lemurs do something else about it. They keep this nice fur of theirs soft and clean by using their teeth. Their 4 front teeth on the bottom jaw stay straight out, forming what's called a tooth comb or a dental comb. They break that comb through their fur, keeping their fur in perfect shape. That way, they can spend as little time on the ground as possible. Anyways, that's little Samantha. Let's say goodbye to the brown interview.
This lovely lady is Tico, the Harris hawk. Now, Tico came to us from a program called the Colson Project that actually breeds and releases Harris hawks back into areas of eastern Texas that were devastated by hurricanes. But Tico here was actually deemed non-releasable because, and I quote, she doesn't play well with others. That may not sound like that big of a deal, but for Harris hawks, it's extremely important because Harris hawks are one of the rare birds of prey that actually hunt in pairs. Because they come from such a harsh desert environment of the southwestern U.S., there is not that much food, so they found that by pairing up, they have a much higher survival rate. But because Miss Single Lady Tico here did not want to pair up, she was sent to our center instead. Now, Harris hawks are extremely incredible daytime hunters. They have eyesight that's about 6 times better than ours, which means that even when to us they look like a little speck high up in the sky, they are still clearly able to see a tiny mouse all the way down on the ground. Plus, they have these amazing ridges over their eyes that act just like the front of a baseball cap to block out the glare of the sun. Their taloned feet use roughly 500 pounds per square inch of force to catch and take down their prey. And they cooperate with their partners to back prey into difficult situations, sometimes getting them called the wolves of the sky. That is our fantastic Harris hawk, Tico.
Now, because we get to work with all these amazing animals, people tend to ask us this one question. They always say, what is your favorite animal? You guys know what my favorite animal is? It's none of these guys. We love the wildlife, that's why we do what we do. But my favorite animal, without question, without a doubt, is my little wiener dog Basil. I trust him, he trusts me, we never bite each other. I know he wants to be with me. You have to know the wild animals are much rather be in nature where they truly belong. Now, animals around our world are suffering due to climate change as well as deforestation. Take monkeys, for example. 90% of the world's monkey species are highly endangered. 90% of the world's monkey species are disappearing from our planet. If we don't change some things very quickly, we could lose some of our most beloved animals on this planet. Now, I'll attend each show with just a few easy things. Some easy things that you guys can do to help keep our wild animals safe. Things like reducing single-use plastics and recycling, or even picking up garbage and keeping our environments clean. Or if you find a sick or injured animal in the wild, get it to a wildlife rescue center. There are literally thousands of places set up for animals the proper care they need to hopefully get them back out to the wild. Anyways, thank you so much for coming and listening to our rescue tales. Enjoy the rest of your day here at SeaWorld, everybody. Have a good night.
Hey, whose hat is this? Oh, it's Key West, bro. It's there. That isn't yours? David, everything.